Hi everyone, welcome to the Alt+Tab Show. It is Friday, June 27th.
I don't know what day it is either, so don't feel so bad about
it. It's 3 p.m. We're now going to talk about tech or other random things for the next hour or so. My name is Paul. I'm here with Mike, aka Chezz.
Nice to be here in the hot seat this evening.
Definitely, and thank you all for joining us so far. We have a few topics of discussion we're going to go over today.
We do.
I say a few because we have less than usual, so if we ramble, it's because we're just trying to fill up dead space. I have some pictures that I took at the HighLAnder events that was earlier this week.
Yeah, why don't we can start with that.
We're going to start, I kind of want to tease that.
You want to tease that?
Bring
okay.
it out. I don't know if I'll make them wait a little bit.
All right. Yeah. You better stick around or you're not going to be able to see it.
You can see one little picture of it in the Your Tweets section right now.
Yeah. So little teaser there on the bottom for you.
Oh, we're on the big screen right now.
I know. I thought
yeah. Mike knows how to do this. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few tech stories, and then we're also going to talk about the Steam Summer Sale, because it's still going on. Gosh, what day is it of the Steam Summer? It's like day 8?
Yeah.
Day 9?
I think it's day... Possibly, I think it's day 9. Yeah.
So how many purchases have you made so far, Mike?
I made my first one today.
Oh yeah?
I've been so busy with other things, I've hardly done any gaming at all. And actually, that first game on your screen right here, Assetto Corsa, the racing game, was the first purchase I made the entire sale. How about yourself?
I'm going on 0 right now. I have been. In my defense, I've been gone. I've been out of town, and we just played Doom at the HighLAnder event, so we didn't need to get anything new. I'm definitely looking for some games. I think actually I might grab Tropico.
Yeah.
If not for me, for my wife. That's one of her
I own it, just have not played it yet. I bought it, I think, on another Steam sale. But yeah, a lot of people I know play that as well. But I think me and you both have a little bit more self-control than Steve, per se, does.
Perhaps.
You know, Steve's not even at work today. Probably, you know, losing brain cells by playing video games and all the sales I think Gaben has blessed him with.
I think it's his wedding anniversary this weekend, so he's definitely playing video games.
Yep, that's what love is all about.
It is. Well, that's how him and his wife kind of met, so yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, so by the way, if you guys want to help us today, you can definitely send us some tweets, ask us questions, send us pictures, do whatever you want. Our Twitter handles are right there.
Right on your screen for you.
Mike is Newegg Chezz, or you can also tweet him at Cheddar Chezz. I'm at Paul Hardware, and you can tweet to me as well. I will favorite things if they are clever.
And I will pull them up to show you what Paul has favorited if you make the cut. That is, of course.
I'll try. I'm just gonna favorite everything, I think. I have a pre-show question. Varun is asking me when the InWin S-Frame is going to be available for purchase in the U.S. I have no idea. I'm sorry. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of hoping we might be able to get a sample in here, at least a loaner for a while, and maybe do a build in it, because very, very unique case. If you guys didn't see, that was one from CES. Look at our InWin CES Computex. That was from Computex. If you look at our InWin Computex video, you can check out the S-Frame. It's really, really cool. But yeah.
Looks like I'm not the only one who's purchased Assetto Corsa, so keep sending those tweets if you guys did that.
Nice.
And, you know, let us know in the chat as well, how many games have you purchased? We're going to use the metric of more than Steve or less than Steve. So that's, if you're purchasing more than Steve, then wow, you know, we should fly him out here.
Then you must be Steve.
Yeah, Steve on an alternate handle on Twitch. But
I don't know how he does that.
Yeah, Steam sales are rolling along, but yeah, me and Paul have not purchased anything too wild and crazy.
There was a game, this is terrible, because there was a game and I was like, ooh, I hope that goes for sale in the Steam sale. Now I can't even remember what it was.
It's because there's so many games.
Right, high altitudes I've heard it kills brain cells, so
yeah.
Some of my memory is missing. But moving right along though.
Yeah.
What else do we have to talk about?
We'll move along to one of my stories. So if you guys are not aware, we'll only do one little Bitcoin story, because normally that's what I always talk about, is anything to do with currency and finance and things like that. I'm not going to bore you with it. But either way, when Silk Road was shut down by the Marshals, I believe, essentially they confiscated all of the Bitcoins that were housed or used there.
Okay.
And now they're going to auction them off to private sellers. And yeah, there's quite a few ramifications it could have on the price, and yeah, the volatility should go back up in theory. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that, you know, I think that's just a government standards that things seized, and you know, if you seize a drug dealer's car, it gets auctioned off. So I mean, I guess it's to be expected that they would auction this off. But yeah, it's quite a flow of bitcoins per se. You know, 30,000 of them right now going at $600. That's a hefty amount, you know, USD.
That is a lot. It's now I see that in the day after the auction was announced, the price dropped by like quite a bit. Why? Like,
I think people are worried that they will flood the market again, and that could drop the price further.
I see.
That's
so basic economics is the answer to that one. I understand.
But there's actually, you know, there's a few different ways it could go. Honestly, this is we're all speculating. No one has a clue. You know, the person who gets these bitcoins could, you know, completely hold on to them, and you know, you won't see any move in the price at all. But yeah, that person could also acquire, say, 10,000 bitcoins and then immediately sell them on the market, pushing the price down. So there's a lot of unknowns, but the real thing now is, will the auction kind of be, will it happen quietly, or will we know who per se bought them?
So are they auctioning, like, is it like,
I don't know
here's
if it's
30,000 bitcoins, you have to buy them all, or are they going to separate it?
This auction is for 9 blocks of 3,000 bitcoins.
Oh, okay.
And 1 block of 225.
And
a lot of decimal points after that.
Okay.
But
so
yeah,
you can buy 3,000 bitcoins.
You could buy it, and
that's money.
That's a good amount of money. So we're gonna do some math here, because obviously,
so let's assume it's
brain.
Let's assume it's $600. That's $1.8 million per block.
No big deal.
So
for
you
me.
get a bid?
So instead of getting Steam games for 1.8 million, I'm just going to buy Bitcoin instead.
That makes sense.
So that's the reason. That's actually the truth on why I haven't bought
You can take some of all that money you make in the stock trading.
That's true.
Drop it on the bitcoins, and then in 6 months, when it goes up over 1,000 again.
But yeah, there's
you could be rich.
Yeah, so it's interesting. That's all kind of happening relatively soon. So that is gonna. I wouldn't doubt if it hits the media again, and the CNBCs and the Fox News, because you know the novelty was there, and then it dropped off when the price dropped, and now we could possibly see another spike as it hits. You know, and whenever anything's in the news, it has attention drawn to it. It brings in new money. It has people scared or happy. You know, so a lot of things could happen.
I think it also dropped off because the ASICs started getting into mass production.
Yeah, so really, the whole GPU demand dropped again back to normal, because I mean the markup on AMD cards was just astronomical.
Pretty silly for a while.
Yeah.
And then Nvidia had the chance to like jump into with the Maxwell and it being so power efficient, but then by that time ASICs, and you're never going to beat an ASICs with a GPU. So
yeah, interesting.
All right.
But I believe we have the next story.
I'm going to leave my calculator open here in case we still need it.
Yeah, you never know when we will. Looks like we have your Android story about smartwatches.
We do. I remember that one. I remember that one perfectly. Where'd that go? Something about the government. So if you guys are watching the Google I/O or picking up on any news for that, they announced Android Wear. These are smartwatches. Most of the stuff I was hearing about them was that they didn't seem quite as sleek as some of the other wearable watches that were coming out. So some of the guys like Lou and Marcus from MKBHD were not super enthused about it, but I mean, still, it's another option that's out there, and it is Google sanctioned. But this article is saying that less than 1/4 of Android phones will actually work with this new smartwatch. And
that's a hefty amount of phones that will not work.
And that's not even all phones. That is active phones. That's not including the ones that have been sitting in drawers for a while. 13.6 of Android phones are running the latest Android 4.4. You need 4.3 or better for this one. So they're saying that 23.9% of active Android phones will actually be compatible. Which you might say, oh, who cares? I'm not planning on buying one of these. But to me, this speaks a little bit more to some of the issues that Android has had. or like it's got the market share that's there, but this is a frustration that's happened to me as well. I have an LG phone, LG, Google, whatever, who they always kind of pass blame back and forth, but it only got updated to 4.1.
And then it stopped.
Nothing since then. So granted, the phone's not 2 years old yet.
Yeah. So it's not even a very, very aged phone per se.
Not that old. It was one of their flagship ones right when it came out, but it stopped getting the updates. So actually, when I had an LG Life Band like a couple weeks ago. And they're like, here's an LG Life Band, why don't you go ahead and test it? And I was like, oh, sweet, I have an LG phone, this will be perfect.
Yeah,
I don't have any brand cross-contamination there or anything like that. And then I tried to use it, and I couldn't use the new LG smartwatch, or the Life Band, with
your
my
own LG phone.
Because it hadn't gotten it. And we asked them about it, and they're like, oh, that's an old phone. And I'm like, it's not an old phone. It's still my contract. I got it at launch. I got it day of launch, and my 2-year contract has not expired yet. So I was a little kind of like, I don't know about that. So I'm looking for a new phone soon for various reasons. My contract renewing I might go to a different carrier as well. Although I feel like it's always a choice of between the least of however many evils. But I guess the way to go if you want to get all the updates is to just get a Google phone, the Nexus 4 or Nexus 5 or whatever, which I might consider doing.
I consider doing that. I consider dropping the iOS phone, but I don't know. I'm very good at actually making my cell phones last for many, many years. I had a 3GS iPhone for almost 4 straight years. The only reason why I ended up getting rid of it for the 5 was the battery was so horrendous, and I used it for 4 years straight. It was pretty much on the entire time for 4 years. That I couldn't even get through, I'd get through maybe a third of the day and the battery would be dead. So here I am carrying these external chargers or having it. Wherever there was power, the old phone had to be plugged in. Which is pretty much, it becomes an inconvenience if you go out and I have to have 2 external battery packs to, keep this phone alive.
It's like Steve. With Steve, I think it's because he's just on his phone constantly, but his phone is always plugged in either to the computer, to the wall, or to a charging brick. And still, it's like the chargers can't keep up with it. He uses his phone so frantically that it still loses power.
Can't even charge fast enough.
While it's charging itself.
Versus the usage Steve puts on it.
My phone is starting to not hold a charge as well. It used to be like I'd get through the day no problem. I'd still have 30–40% left, and now I'd have to charge it by the evening.
Mine as well.
But yeah, let me know what phone I should get, or if there's new phones coming out, because I read a little bit about phones, but I'm not super into it. So I need suggestions. Yeah,
send Paul your suggestions for a new phone so he can use his LG Fitband or test it. But
Abdul Shakur says the smartwatch thing is why custom ROMs are better than stock ROMs. That's another thing I could have done, is go for root my phone, do a clean installation. That's one of those things that I just haven't had time to do. I feel like with the phone, it's like when I used to have a car and I wanted to take the car apart and work on it, but I was like, well, I still have to drive it every day, so I don't want to get into some rooting operation and then if I mess it up or whatever. All right, we're getting some, I don't know what that is.
Paul's getting some good tweets over here. I'll be checking mine as well. Mine's a little bit more primitive, having to use my phone. But yeah, looks like a lot of people are suggesting the Moto G, the G2, the Galaxy S3.
Moto G4G LTE.
People are saying the S5. Really, honestly, it comes down to when you decide which of the evil cell phone carrier you want to go with. And but yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about the Google phones. I was going to go the Nexus route, actually, myself.
I'm on Sprint right now, which just, the price is good. The unlimited data, I really like the fact that they have unlimited data, particularly with so many other companies going oh, we're not going to do that anymore. You're going to have a tiered plan. So that, on the principle, I really like that. But I pay $10 extra a month for my 4G phone. I use it. I get 4G coverage maybe 5% of the time, just practically never. Yikes. For me, if I look at my phone, I'm like, ooh, I have 4G. Still 2 years later, I'm like, oh, when 4G, I go to Las Vegas and I'm like, sweet, I actually have Sprint 4G here,
have some good speeds.
But yeah, so just with going on trips, the Colorado trip, I would have been tweeting a lot more, but I was on roaming the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm cheap, and I don't want to pay the roaming charges.
I feel handicapped when LTE isn't active for mine. So,
Yeah.
and when I'm on 4G, I'm like, 4G. And Paul's over here rejoicing every time he has 4G. So.
So I'm considering AT&T.
That's what I have. I've been a 10-year customer for AT&T now.
I was on Singular when it became AT&T.
So was I.
And then I forget what they did. They pissed me off, and I
Yeah, most people have very bad experiences with their customer support because they just kind of say #deal with it, or you're out of luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, having them for so long, obviously I get discounts for being a loyal customer and blah blah blah. But
yeah, and then my other option is Verizon.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have the Verizon coverage. It's like an evil empire kind of decision. So like of all of the companies, I feel like Verizon's one of the worst when it comes to like jacking up prices and all that kind of stuff, and it's so expensive. But if I can do like a combo plan with my wife and I or something and get something like
it might
sort of reasonable, then it might be worth it. But I know I'm going to have to deal with a data cap, which sucks.
Yeah, you want the coverage that they offer, but you're not the biggest fan of how they conduct business.
So it seems we have mixed opinions regarding AT&T in the chat room.
Yeah, people are saying one statement is complete crap, the other statement is good.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Yeah. I had good coverage in Chicago. That's the only reason why I kept it. And then I came out here and I was wondering if I would have to switch, but I have really good coverage out here as well. It pretty much is going to come down to Paul asking all of us pretty much who has what kind of service. Do you ever have their areas where you don't get service, coverage, things like that. But we'll move on. We'll move on to the next story.
What's up next?
Looks like we one of my stories.
You have a video gaming news?
I do. So it looks like the Western Australian Committee wants video games that are R18 plus completely banned.
Completely banned.
Completely banned. So just pretty much one state in Australia will just flat out outlaw, adult-rated games. And the argument is about
why
the children are exposed to these regardless of the rating. It's just, I think it's absolutely insane, because what if it's a state for children then that becomes it's how do you grow up if you. I'm old enough, if you're over the 18 plus classification, they assume that you are mature enough to decide if these games or what's in the game is appropriate for you. What's the point of even having a rating system if you're just going to ban a particular rating?
Exactly.
No one will make a game that will come out with a rating because you can't sell it.
It's also like now forgive my lack of knowledge of Australia. I know some things about it, but
kangaroos.
Not many things about it. I didn't want to go into the typical stereotypes, but from my understanding, Western Australia, isn't Eastern Australia more densely populated? That's where like Sydney is and that sort of thing. Forgive me if I'm completely wrong about this, right? But you're talking about a portion of a nation, and this is the type of thing where like you have developers worldwide developing games. It's very difficult when you're developing a game to meet all of the expectations of all the countries. Like China has a lot of laws about certain things that you can't show in video games. They're huge though. I mean, there's so many people in China that like it's worth it for, say, Blizzard to make a special version of World of Warcraft.
I was just going to say that, that they the larger publishers will actually curtail a kind of a side version of the game just to kind of meet the requirements.
I don't know. This for me, like, censorship is like, unless it's extremely like egregious to human nature, like really extreme types of things, because censorship does so little to actually combat the problem, and it creates like the need for punishments and enforcement and that type of thing where you didn't have it before. And I guess if you're in Western Australia, like what happens if they ban the game? Like, what type of penalties are they going to incur?
Yeah, if you
go to jail?
Does every GameStop employee get arrested or something? I mean, I don't even know. You're gonna get checked at the state crossing for illegal video games in your trunk. I mean,
just do the thing like they used to have at the the video store. You go and they have that curtain. The curtain. You can only walk back there if you're old enough and everything. And you feel kind of creepy doing it. Not that I've ever had that experience before.
Paul doesn't even know what the curtain is.
I don't. The curtain's very mysterious to me.
But that's the equivalent of selling alcohol, which you have to be 21 years or older here in the United States. But then there's a state that says there's just no alcohol. We don't care how old you are. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and people are going to do what they want to do, and it's
people in power are going to push their agenda for some reason here or there. But let us know what you think on our Twitters. Twitters are on the screen right now. So
okay, so I think if you guys are interested. I don't have a ton of stuff to share because I didn't want to, this is still, everyone's kind of waiting so we can all post our content and stuff at about the same time. But I do have a few pictures of the event from earlier this week in Colorado. So just to give you guys an idea,
so I'm going to set it up.
That's a great one. So just to give you guys an idea, or if you're not familiar at all with this, so Logan from Tech Syndicate, this was like a couple years back, came up with this idea that he wanted to have a LAN party, like first off an old school LAN party, like no internet required, you're connecting the computers together. He wanted to do it at the top of a mountain. He wanted to set the world record for the world's highest elevation terrestrial LAN party. If they say terrestrial, otherwise people will be like, well, why didn't you just do it on a plane?
Yeah.
So after discussing this with multiple people, he talked to Linus from Linus Tech Tips about it. Linus kind of took on the marketing and coordination aspect of it, so Linus arranged some sponsors for it, and together they invited some other YouTubers out there. So he got Austin Evans, so you can see in that excellent photo there. There's Kyle as well. Kyle has the day off today, but he was also there. And then we also had 4 guys from Linus Tech Tips. So it was Linus, Luke, Brandon, and Edsel. That's Slick, B-Roll, and Diesel, if you guys are going by their nicknames. And then we also had from Tech Syndicate, we had Logan, of course. We had Kane. We had Jimmy, who's their new editor, who also does their WASD show with Pixel. I'm sorry, Pistol. And then we also had Albert, who you might recognize. Albert, he's actually done videos for Tiger Direct before, but he is independent and he's an amazing photographer. Albert is. I did not know this. He was shooting with the GH4 the whole time, doing 4K stuff.
Yeah, very nice camera.
Some amazing footage. We have like, we shared a bunch of the footage afterwards. We have like 250 gigs or something like that of footage across everybody. So there's a picture of Kane and Albert.
I don't know how many of these do you want to go through. Wow.
I only dropped a few in there. So
okay, so we can go through.
So this is looking. All right. So if you in this picture, if you guys can see the trees that are down there, that's the tree line. So the tree line was about the halfway point, or maybe a little bit less than halfway. That was probably at about 12,000 or 12,500 feet. You get above the tree line and you see more of a trail like the one you can see here, which is very open. There's some rocks and grass and stuff. But you can see this amazing view. You can just vista of Colorado Rockies like all around you. So really, really amazing, pretty scenery. So that was like the benefit there. Is like anytime you got too tired, you could at least stop and kind of turn around,
take it in,
view the scenery and all that stuff. So this is looking up from that same point, and this looks like I'm looking up to the top of the mountain, but that is not the top of the mountain. This is what we were calling a false peak or a false summit, because it looks like, hey, I'm almost to the top.
We made it.
But really, on the part on the right side there between those two snowbanks, you kind of cut off to the right there and you go around it, and then like, oh, and then there's another.
Then there's another
over there. And it's kind of difficult to deal with.
You can see some people kind of hiking there in the image. It's a little bit small, but
yeah, these are from my like little pocket point and shoot camera, which is waterproof, which is great, but it's not like absolutely fantastic resolution. So this is higher up. So now you can't even see that tree line looking down. This is kind of from more up on that false peak we're looking at. You can kind of see. Can you do that one there?
Which one?
That guy, and then
where do you want?
Drag it that. So you can see some of these people down below there. This is me proving I was not at the back of the line. If you guys are interested, Kyle made it to the top first.
No training.
Which
no preparation.
He
just
he
powered through it.
I blame it on him being 25 still. Apparently at 25 you can do anything. No, Kyle did a great job. He got up there first. He beat Linus, which Linus might have been
a little bit miffed about.
Sure Linus would have liked to have been up there first, but Newegg TV for the win. Right. And then what else we got on here? So this is up at the top. This is just a random picture of, that's Nick from Asus. You guys might have seen him in some of our videos before. We've done interviews with him. He is like insane. Okay, so Nick is awesome for several reasons. First off, he's in amazing shape. He runs like several miles a week and does all this sports and activities. I know. He's tall and lanky, and I know he could have just like rolled up the mountain without breaking a sweat. He was wearing Chucks, which is not necessarily recommended on this type of journey, but he was like, yeah, no problem. Like there's like some steep areas with rocks and like shale and stuff,
just
and
going through with this Converse. Yeah,
but he was like, no problem. But he also pulled anchor, which means he was at the back of the group. He stayed with the folks who were having the hardest time. He like was there. He was encouraging them. We had everyone except one person made it to the top, which was amazing. We were not expecting that. This is a very difficult hike. So Nick, I think, had a lot to do with that. So he rolled up towards the end of the time. Everyone got up there at about noon, and we only had maybe like a half an hour up on top before we had to bail because it started snowing on us. But there's Linus. You can all right. Check out Luke behind Linus. Luke, being Canadian, requires no
thermals.
Is immune to snow. Luke was in like
he's in his habitat.
He's in some Nike like basketball shoes or something. Yeah. Red shorts. Luke was having terrible altitude sickness the whole time, so he was having a really tough time, but he like powered through it. He did a great job. Luke was also instrumental on the way back down, because after we got down below the tree line, his altitude sickness really cleared up. Yeah. And more on that later though. Yeah. And then who else? Linus is in that picture. There's Logan up on top looking. Logan was also wearing shorts. We had 3 people wearing shorts. We had Luke wearing shorts because he's from Canada.
Crazy.
We had. Why are you zooming in on? We had
moving around. I was moving around.
So Luke was wearing shorts. Kane was wearing shorts because he's from Alaska, and Logan was wearing shorts because he's Logan, or he's from Vermont. I guess he goes hiking in the snow a lot, so that's pretty cool.
Wow! Look at that. That's.
Yeah, so that's kind of at the top, and this is as a cloud started to kind of come and envelop us. And can you play a video? Actually, there's 2 videos. Yeah, in that same folder. Okay. They might be. They might be separate. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. They're probably. We have. Prepare your ears. We don't know what level of volume this will come out at.
We have not tested
this. It's muted, so you guys shouldn't hear anything. But let me pause this real quick. And,
so this is.
Do you need audio or no?
No. Wow. Probably best not to have audio. Okay. But this is some.
Oh goodness.
Oh God.
Come on, baby. Oh gosh. Okay, it worked.
So this is just a little quick clip from the top. That's Liz. She was our scientist. She was there to verify that yes, we were at a high elevation. So this is after Nick got up there. And then this was right when Brandon came up. Brandon was the last person to make it up to the top. He was really struggling, and he powered through it, came up through the top. So this is where we were playing the LAN party. It's empty now because everyone's clearing out at this point because it had started to snow. But this is like right as Brandon comes up, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Brandon, you made it!" Which was really cool.
Should we go right to the second clip?
Yeah, we can jump into the second clip. I just wanted to show you guys the snow because even though it's like end of June, it snowed because we're at 14,400 feet.
That air cooling.
And this is excellent air cooling. So look at the snow here. It's going sideways pretty much with the wind and everything.
So quite windy up there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I apologize. The video is a little bit rocky. I was trying to evacuate myself while still recording at this time, but it was an amazing experience. Definitely, I had sort of mentally prepared myself that it was going to be really, really hard, and it definitely was. I think I had about the right idea of what it was going to be like. I think not everyone did.
Yeah, see, I've never actually gone on a journey or a hike this, you know, that high or that far with that much elevation. So I think I would, yeah, I would love to do that, because obviously we have a lot of mountains and things around here. But yeah, I definitely need to prepare. Yeah, I'm stunned Kyle made it. Just absolutely no, not to downplay on you at all, Kyle, but holy hell, to just kind of like, yep, okay, we're just gonna go to the top of this mountain real quick.
Is Kyle in the chat room?
I don't know if Kyle's in the chat room. But either way, Matt, lots of kudos to Kyle. Yeah,
Kyle, great job. And yeah, so Liz was our scientist. She was there to verify that we're at the right elevation, because it was for Guinness. Guinness has a set of requirements in order for you to get the world record for something. So we're pretty sure we hit them all. They still need to review it. So right now it's a attempted world record, but hopefully they're going to verify that. And I have no idea how long it's going to take.
So make sure you guys remember this moment before Paul is on, you know, Nightline and Dateline, and he's doing interviews on all those Good Morning talk shows about this, you know, record-setting feat that they did.
Of course. Yeah. The one that I have two regrets about the top. One is that I didn't sign the book. We were evacuating. I didn't have time. And two is that since I got up towards the end of the group, I wasn't there as early as everyone else. So it was just like, oh, I need to eat something. We need to get the laptops out. We need to land a little bit. We need to record something. And then, crap, we got to go. So I never got like that kind of like, hey, I'm at the top with this view behind me kind of picture.
In. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was cool, and I think it's probably something I'd like to try again, because for being as high of elevation it is, a 14er as they call, it was reasonably, we talk about how difficult it was. It was reasonably easy because it's only about 9.5 miles round trip. It's just, you got to deal with the elevation.
Yeah, the elevation, it would just kill me.
Yeah, so there's a couple more pictures. Right, these are actually from the GH4. So there's a better view from the top.
Wow.
There's Albert and Liz, and you can see just surrounded by other really tall mountains, but not quite as tall as the one that you're on.
That's right.
Which is cool. And then I think I wanted a glamour shot of Linus. There's Linus. That's the manliest picture of Linus.
This is Paul's background actually on his computer.
I do, yes. It's now my screensaver as well as my desktop background. Linus there looking like, hey, I'm top of a mountain.
I'm a man. I conquered the mountain.
He has is that an Arc'teryx?
Yes.
That's a really nice jacket, actually. Wow. Linus. Doing good with those YouTube bunnies, I guess.
That's right.
And then here is, we took some group photos at the end.
Great picture.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find the one that had the entire group. This is actually the group that was. All right, so this is a good setup for my story here of what happened at the end. So the mountain you can see there in the background behind us. That's where we were, and this is the next day down at the bottom. But this is the group that came down the mountain last. And the reason we came down the mountain last was because Jimmy, like, his knees exploded. Well, they didn't explode, but his knees, like...
They just shot?
They pretty much gave out on him, like, a third of the way down the mountain. So he was just creeping along. He was in a ton of pain. And so many people were just like, I need to get off the mountain. So a bunch of people had gone on ahead. So this was the group that stayed back to make sure that everyone made it down the mountain okay. We didn't end up getting all the way down the mountain until 6 p.m. So we started at 6 a.m., got down at 6 p.m.
12 hours of hiking.
12-hour day, and most of that was hiking. Luke and Logan were carrying Jimmy, or not carrying him, but putting his arms on their shoulders to take some of the weight off his knees. Austin and Brandon and I were also trading off his backpack, and we had distributed some of the weight around to the other backpacks to try to get down the mountain. But because it took so long, Colorado has this atmosphere where, like, in the morning it's like beautiful. There were like no clouds, everything was like amazing.
But as the day goes on.
But yeah, like like 12 to 1 is when you start to get storms up on top of the mountain, and then later in the day often they'll have rain and that sort of thing. So we were down, probably we had maybe a quarter mile left, maybe give or take. We kind of came around this loop, and we could look down and you can see the parking lot way down below you, but there's all these switchbacks to go. Right as we came around that corner, it starts to rain a little bit. And then I saw a flash, so I immediately started counting. And I'm like, it was about 5 seconds. I'm like, okay, that's
relatively close.
Not far. So we started to like pick up the pace a little bit, and then we get another one, like 2 seconds, boom, and like we're just like, holy crap. So
epic land party.
So Jimmy,
epic land party.
So Jimmy, like with the last strength he has, just starts running. Jimmy, Logan, and Austin took off. And I was surprised how fast they were able to go. Me, Brandon, and Luke were further back, and we're just like trucking along. Literally, at one point, I was looking down this switchback, and at the end of the switchback, I just saw this bolt of lightning, just boom, right there, no delay. And I was like, oh my God, like it's going to hit a tree next to us. It's going to arc over one of us is going to die. So, and it wasn't like a few minutes. It was like every 20 seconds or so, you'd have a thunderbolt come down, or a lightning bolt. And
so it hits a tree, it arcs over, and then Linus is screaming, "No! All the footage!"
Yes, he's like,
all the videos!
Brandon's camera and all his lenses.
Oh yeah, are you okay?
Oh yeah.
You look a little fried down there.
So yeah, it was like literally one of the scarier things that has ever happened to me. There's zero footage of it because all of us were too afraid for our lives to actually think like, oh, I should pull out a camera right now or anything like that. And we got down to the parking lot and none of us were in the best moods. But we made it is the important thing. Yeah. And we had a frantic like lightning bolt dodging run down the mountain at the very end. So.
Steve saying no DeLorean to take the bolt. They were screwed.
No. If we had a DeLorean, we could have gone back in time.
It could have.
To the beginning of the day and then hiked the mountain again.
That's true. That's true.
Or, that probably wouldn't have been where we would have gone. We might have chosen something else. Oh, hey, Steve. Steve, I thought you were celebrating your anniversary.
Yeah, Steve, get off your computer.
Okay.
But why don't we take a short little moment to check the Twitters?
Yes, good idea.
But yeah, that trip looks amazing. I need to
it was fantastic.
Get myself back into shape like that because there's a lot of stuff that surrounds me. Mount Baldy is actually right near where I live, and I heard it's pretty beautiful up there.
Oh, Baldy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been up to Baldy.
I mean, it's right outside where I live because I live in Mountain Town.
It's like very mediocre skiing and snowboarding. It's like okay. If you go there right after a storm, it's okay.
Yeah, I have all my camping gear from the trip I went on across the country. The one thing I do not have is a backpack. So I need to purchase one of those, but I want to go on kind of hiking trips. So if you guys ever do that again,
okay,
count me in.
I'm going to the place near Mammoth in about 2 weeks.
Okay, well I need to put in for my time off now.
All right.
But yeah, so
Logan might come with me there too as well.
So it looks like, I'm getting asked if I own a racing wheel by
since you got the
Kanasumi Media. I do not actually, but I was actually just looking at one today on a website. There's a few various, I think it's the Logitech G27. It's got shifting pedals and a steering wheel, and it was I think about $225. So I'm debating if I have come into some side money, some Bitcoin Silk Road money.
Oh yeah.
I may or may not purchase it, but I think I'm more interested to see how the game plays first because I haven't honestly. I never played Gran Turismo. I never played Forza. Those were not to belittle consoles. I just never had a console, and I wasn't willing to spend money just to play those games. So
yeah.
I think I really want to see if with an Xbox controller I enjoy the game, and if I do, then maybe I will ante up and possibly purchase a racing wheel or some kind. I'm sure it's better as far as control-wise versus a thumbstick, but I'm not willing to shell out the videos for that game. And some people's setups is just, they have what's it called where it spreads across 3 monitors.
It's surround.
Yeah, it's
triple monitor.
Triple monitor setups. Except it was like 3 TVs. The guy has a seat that can slide forward and backwards. He's got these custom tacks which are moving with the game, and I was like, how do you get all of that to work? But yeah, some of the simulator enthusiasts can have some absolutely crazy builds. But yeah, it looks like some people in the chat really like the G27. So I mean, the price point isn't too crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing it. If I have an interest in the game and it's something I'm playing for long term, maybe. But
definitely got to be really into those games.
Yeah, definitely.
It would suck to like get one, play that game a little bit, and then it's like, what else can you use it for?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was gonna like Battlefield 4, and you get into a vehicle, can I jump over to the steering wheel real quick or something?
Yeah. I was gonna say it'd be nice if it somehow I could utilize it for Star Citizen because I think the consensus is most people are gonna need a flight stick for Star Citizen. Just for sake of
the real space dogfighting.
Yeah, because I mean it's not it's not horrible with a mouse and a keyboard, but it's definitely not as fluid. You know, it's, you know, you drag your mouse to the side of the screen and then it just kind of, you know, you're in a persistent full turn amount as opposed to being able to kind of go a little bit or more. So we'll see. Obviously, it's just kind of, it will enhance whatever experience you're having.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely have to be a fan of that. Got a question for you, Paul, from East Coast Mods.
Sure.
What do you think is next for AMD after Kaveri?
After Kaveri? I honestly have no idea, like, legitimately, like, I don't have any inside information or anything like that. If I did, I wouldn't be able to tell you guys anyway. I'm kind of, I don't know, like, I like the positioning a lot of their APUs. I like the kind of balance you get with Kaveri, and I like the that you have a lot of reasonably priced APUs. I like the upgrade path option because you can actually get pretty decent built-in graphics and set up a cheap SIP system and then, you know, drop in a graphics card later on or something like that. They're definitely still pushing towards mobile and power efficiency and all that kind of stuff, which is good. But I'd love to see follow-up to the, like, pile driver architecture and everything. It's like they're integrating into the APUs, but they haven't come out with something like, you know, Intel keeps coming out with new CPU microarchitectures, and AMD really hasn't, at least not with a completely new design in quite some time. They've been sort of doing newer iterations of their existing architecture. So I'd love to see something that challenges Intel a little bit more on the processing side. And performance per clock and that sort of thing. So yeah, I hope they're working on something like that, because for Intel to be the only, like, the sole option if you want an enthusiast high-end, you know, workstation
Where's the competition
powerhouse.
in that?
Yeah, you know, we need something to keep pushing Intel. We can't let Intel keep doing Haswell refreshes instead of Broadwell. I'm sure that has something to do with engineering the smaller manufacturing process and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm really not sure, but I have my hopes, and so that's what I would hope. I want a new, dedicated, more CPU processing dedicated.
I would like to see an R9 built into the next APU.
So
I'd like to see a lot of things too.
You could also do that. I mean, it's always a possibility. Yeah.
So Aaron Hunt's asking how fast your home internet connection is.
I'm lucky enough to be in one of the places that got Verizon Fios before they stopped doing Verizon Fios, because from my understanding they're not deploying it anywhere else now. I think that's enough. So I have 50 down, 25 up.
I would kill for that upload speed.
It's good, and everyone's like, oh, well, you could go much faster than that, and yes, I could, but
For what?
I don't use it. I mean, I have enough that I could live stream, which maybe I'll do at some point.
Comfortably, you can upload your videos extremely quick with that upload speed.
Yeah. I do love that. It used to be like, I'd be editing a video and I'd be like, oh, if I finish this by 11 p.m. and I upload it, then maybe by like
7.
Yeah, 4 or 5 the next morning or something like that. Now it's like, oh, I finished at 11, I uploaded
20 minutes
now it's
later.
11:20, and hey, it's good to go. You know, even if it's like a longer, higher bitrate video or anything.
Yeah, I love having conversations with ISPs whenever I've had to move, or we got a new ISP in Chicago. They came to the building I lived in. And yeah, I'm always like, they're like, yeah, you know, we can give you the 150 down package. And I go, how about this? I only want 50 down, but I want you to, you know, increase my upload. And they go, yeah, you're still only going to get 2 uploads. Sorry, we can't increase that. I'm like, I want you to take my money. Just like Steve's old segment. I want you to take my money, just take it away, and just, you know, push a few buttons and increase my upload amount.
They don't have the bandwidth. It's just
obviously they can
not enough space.
You know, give me 300 down business, but
they need
the upload.
To
we need
widen the copper.
Yeah,
they need thicker copper in order to do that sort of thing.
So
it's going to cost.
Now with Time Warner cable, I am lucky enough to have. They say it's 5 upload, but I get about 5.75, so that's more than enough to stream. And I don't upload, you know, YouTube videos anymore, so I don't actually have to worry about that. Streaming was the only concern I had, but yeah, 25 upload is nice.
Yeah, I do enjoy it.
But do you want to move on to
sure? Do we have more
next story?
We have more topics.
You do.
Oh, I kind of like this one.
The whirling Wi-Fi.
So has anyone ever wondered what Wi-Fi looks like?
I do.
I kind of have. Well, hey. There it is.
Whoa!
So this is kind of a cool little story. This is from Daily Mail. This is a student from Newcastle University He's made images that show Wi-Fi. Louis Hernan has made a program that can measure Wi-Fi strength, and then he used long exposure photography to expose wireless networks. And you get some really cool, like, artistic. I love
awesome.
when like people take technology and make it into art, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I just like people, because you know, there's so many people working on something like to develop it and like technology usually, and then people can take it and be like, you know, apart from how useful that is or whatever, there's sort of an artisticness to it, not to get too deep or anything like that. It looks really cool.
I would honestly frame this and hang it in my living room.
Yeah.
Because I think it looks awesome.
I cannot give you guys any deeper explanation of like what this is representing or anything. But yeah, isn't that cool? So that like this is, I look at this and I'm like, so this seems to be like a time lapse. So somebody walked by here with a cell phone or something like that, and that's measuring like
converts signal strength into color images.
Okay, so
that's crazy.
Depending where their phone is, and it's getting better or worse signal as they move it around. So I wonder if they stood at the top of the steps and like waved their phone all around or something like that.
And then walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an Android app called Curlian.
Something like that. But yeah, really cool pictures.
Huh. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But yeah,
Not gonna lie.
I just thought it was cool. One of those little random stories that I jumped across. I'm like, hey, that's pretty funky. Is that one with a ladder? I want to see a video of them shooting these. The person
they're just
incongruously sitting there with a cell phone.
Like, look, we're raving.
Yeah.
Now, this one's pretty cool here.
And then this, I think this is more of like an, I don't think this one is made from the Wi-Fi signals. I think this one is more of like a visual representation of what
his own colorful representations of Wi-Fi waves, peaks, and what they look like if we could see them. So that one isn't, this one was taken by Lewis.
That's still pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
If you guys are watching live, and this is on dailymail.co.uk in the science and tech section. If you're watching it on our re-upload, we will have a link in the description if you guys want to check those pictures out. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty nifty. But,
and then what else do we have?
Moving right along, it looks like Amazon's drone delivery.
Oh yeah. So my question here for this was, are you guys pro-drone or anti-drone? There's so many different types of drones and everything, but you guys might have heard I think it was earlier this week or late last week, the FAA, I guess it was this week, they issued a report that said you can't do drone delivery services, and everyone was like
commercial operations.
So that this is the follow-up to that. So everyone at first was like, oh my gosh, the FAA has killed Amazon Prime Air, and I don't know. It depends if it's available in your area or not. This report is saying they're saying recreational use.
Yeah, so hobbyists.
Hobbyists.
Yes, hobbyist drones.
Which like
fall under a different classification.
Which is weird, right? Because if they're saying like, hey, there's no drone delivery services,
but you can fly your own.
But who would have a drone delivery service if not a business?
Exactly.
So
now.
Is it just one of those rules that like doesn't really affect anyone?
So I guess I have a few drone thoughts in particular. I think what drones have done that have assisted many things was cinematography.
Okay.
The shots that they can achieve without all these large-scale sporting events, things like that. You know how much it costs to run a helicopter to film from the air. Now there's a guy with a remote control and a 4K camera attached to it, and you can get it into any kind of crazy angles you can think of. It can go along with riders, or it can go just about anywhere. So the hobbyist thing to me falls under people who fly model planes and things like that. But I think it's a little odd to either allow them for one realm and not allow them for other. What I'm hearing here is the FAA is saying any for-profit, you can't use these for your company, which I think is a little
And I guess it does make sense to make sure that like they have some regulations out there regarding it, so that any random person who's like, tries to fly their drone from one place to another carrying some sort of payload, they can actually say, oh, that's actually against the law, or whatever. But so Amazon still might be able to do their Amazon Prime Air. They're just gonna have to work out
the Prime Air thing too was for, I think, objects under 5 pounds. There's a few limitations, and I honestly, that's completely okay. Imagine if there was just free reign for this, and it's like, oh, I got a drone delivery refrigerator, and it's this big ass drone, and then the refrigerator falls.
If you live in an apartment building or something, right? You can just drop it off on your balcony.
Yeah.
Don't have to take it upstairs.
Exactly. Oh yeah, for moving.
I'm sure they're gonna fall every now and then, but you know, that happens. Yeah. Refrigerators fall from the sky.
So the chat is going off about delivering drone delivery pizza.
Pizza, yeah, that's another one. Domino's.
And I would, I'd be okay with that if it could get me the pizza faster. Because honestly, you know, if I'm purchasing pizza,
I think
I want to get off the couch. I want that thing to buzz right through my balcony and just drop it
on the table.
Yeah.
You know, just maybe drop in a few dollars into the slot or whatever. Tip. Yeah. Do you have to tip the drone? That's another great thing. You don't have to tip the drone anymore.
There's going to be people coming out saying,
I'm sorry if any of you guys are pizza delivery men.
Drones are taking your jobs.
Yes. I forget where I was going to go with that.
Let us know what you guys think about drones. Honestly, if it came to the point where the sun is getting blocked out by the amount of drones, then that's obviously not.
Oh, I was going to say they need to come up with some sort of standardization for drones to be able to locate other flying objects that are near them so that they can communicate so they don't collide in air. Because even if it's not carrying a refrigerator, I'm going to be pissed off if a drone falls on my head.
Yeah, like, or if I'm driving and a drone falls and breaks my windshield of my car. Yeah, you know damn well I'm going to sue you, Amazon. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah. So there is one. There was a second story
about
that. But you know, that's the wrong one.
I got.
Oh no, that's there.
This one? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So.
I read this too.
Drones have been banned, and this was actually a story I had last week that we didn't get to. But drones have been banned in national parks.
What was the reason for that?
Because it's a national park.
So it's disturbing.
You're supposed to get out there and get away from. Yeah. Nature and everything. I guess the photography aspect of it, it does hurt to some degree.
Yeah, but I mean, noise and nuisance. I completely agree with that because now you are taking, say there's a nest of wild birds that are up on that peak in the image there, and here you are buzzing, your drone within 5 feet of them, and they're like, what the heck is this thing? We've never seen it.
Yeah, that could be a serious problem.
Yeah.
They do say the NPS can still grant case-by-case exceptions for drones being used for research, search and rescue, and fighting fires. They don't mention filmmaking there, but I'm sure if you have enough money, you can probably get some type of.
I'm sure the parks and park department will accept. Accept your donation. Cash. Yes.
Cold hard
cash.
All right. But, so drones.
Yeah. Drones. Let us know what you think. In the chat, let us know what you think.
It is almost 6 o'clock. If you guys have any other Twitter stuff you want to tweet to us, please let us know. D-Man Duck wants to know how high was HighLAnder. Please type it out. It was 14,400 feet. It's Mount Elbert, if you guys want to look it up. Mount Elbert, Colorado. There we go.
Search and rescue or search and destroy?
What?
For drones, it's like it can be used for search and rescue. It's only a matter of time until they're used for search and destroy.
Well, what do you need to search and destroy in a national park, though?
Not in a national park.
Oh,
just in general in Skynet.
They already do that.
I know.
It's like Afghanistan.
It's not. Right? It's not anything new.
I saw a question earlier. DDT 2005 asked me, what Z97 motherboard do you recommend for overclocking the G3258 Pentium? That's the Pentium Anniversary Edition. The answer would be any Z97 motherboard. I would recommend Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, or ASRock are my kind of top 4 when it comes to motherboard manufacturers. These CPUs have what is known as a fiver or fully integrated voltage regulation, which means the power delivery on the motherboard means way less than it used to mean, and chances are you will get just as much of an overclock on that CPU on a $200 board as you would on a $105 board. So just get what board has the most, it's the form factor that you want, and that has the other features that you might want, like whether it's got M.2 support or SATA Express if you're interested in those things, SATA expandability, of course, and go for it. I would say since it's a inexpensive processor, $75, you probably want to stick with something less expensive, because I would feel weird spending $200 on a motherboard for a $75 processor. They're still budget, but you can't overclock them well. Although apparently mine does not overclock well.
Yeah,
I'm so sad about it.
It's a bummer.
And I've had zero time to follow up on that and see if it's really like I really just got a bum chip, or like I want to swap it into another motherboard just to be sure. But I don't have time. I'm going to Korea on Sunday. Did I mention that? Going to Korea?
Yeah, I know. I had,
yeah.
That's you're a traveling man.
Apparently, I am.
I got a question from East Coast Mods. I'm gonna definitely let you answer this though. What SSD would you recommend for under $200?
Under 200?
See, I think this is. It's not that it's a loaded question. I feel like you might be one asking what brands, because honestly, you can get a 60 gig SSD for under $200, or you could get a 60 gig for a certain brand that might cost you $200. So I guess what SSDs do you personally like?
My go-to right now, if people are asking, I mean, the funny thing is like when you get. Like so you can get a 256 gig SSD for about that much, or probably less than that at this point. You're talking about such a small variance when it comes to like their actual performance that for me it comes down more to like feature set and added stuff like that. So I really like the Samsung 840 EVO. It's got a really good software package that comes along with it. It's got stuff like it lets you secure erase.
A lot of people in chat are recommending the 840 EVO.
Yeah, 840 EVO. You can plug it into your memory and let your memory accelerate the SSD to get even higher speeds than that. So that's something that I definitely would recommend 840 EVO. But there's tons that are out there that you probably like. Honestly, doing the 840 EVO and saying, oh, well, with the memory thing and everything, you can get 700 megabytes per second. And
are you ever gonna?
It's got like 550 megabytes per second read and everything. If you took that SSD and put it in a system and did an identical system with the what do I have turning around, a Crucial MX100, a SanDisk Extreme 2. If you put those all side by side and worked on all of them, I guarantee you would not be able to tell one lick of difference.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
The response time is there, and unless you're like going to be pairing a bunch of them up in RAID or something like that, or you really need like video editing might be one thing
for those speeds.
Because for that you really need like really fast sequential reads and writes and that sort of thing. So Corsair Neutron GTX is another good one that I throw out there a lot. Really good write consistency on that one. But yeah, all of those high-end SSDs are good, but the 840 EVO, the software package on that I was really impressed with.
So the only thing I can kind of contribute to the SSD discussion is that I bought an OCZ 256 gig drive, and I do have one complaint. It is the only drive, and it is known for this in the reviews. Of course, after I bought it, I didn't realize that this was a problem, is that it will randomly disconnect or power down, or the drive actually doesn't become, it disappears from my computer list. Oh. And I have to restart the computer for it to come back. Yeah. So I've unplugged it. I thought maybe something was loose or something was getting jostled.
Which OCZ was that?
I'll have to look it up, but this was before they were bought by, who bought them? Someone bought OCZ.
OCZ was going to go out of business, and then they were recently bought by
forgot who it was, but this was
LSI?
Prior to that. So this is when things were going poorly, but the prices for OCZ drives were relatively low.
Somebody texting you and telling you what it was? Somebody.
No, so somebody's telling me about the
was
Plextor PCIe SSD worth the price for the performance.
If you need that performance, then yes. If you really need it.
So people are saying that
Toshiba bought OCZ. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ober-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, it looks like
LSI bought SandForce.
Yeah, Kitty is saying that the same thing happens to her Corsair Neutron. So
really?
Yeah. So I mean, maybe I just got a bad one, but that's the only thing I can contribute, is that was the only problem I've ever had in SSD land for OCZ.
I wonder what would be causing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are looking to get an SSD soon, particularly if you're looking to set up a whole new system, and you can go Z97, a Z97 motherboard that has a native M.2 slot, which is enabled in a lot of those. You can get, it's not like a huge difference. It's like 10 gigabit per second instead of 6 gigabit per second bandwidth wise. But an M.2 SSD, like the Plextor MS. Wait,
He's got that altitude brain.
M6E, it's right there. M6E, yes, M6E.
Confirmed.
Would be a good option, and that's where you're actually going to start to see a bigger variation from all of the high-end SATA Rev 3 SSDs that are out now, because you're going to a different interface and you're removing that bottleneck. So with M.2,
with Z97,
M.2 with PCI Express by 2, and we'll also start to see some PCI Express by 4 connectivity. I think that's coming on the Asus Maximus 8 Impact? What are we on now with Asus?
I don't even know what number we're on for that.
It's 7. Maximus 7 Impact is going to have a by 4 M.2 PCI Express connector, and I think ASRock also has some of those. But if you really need fast storage, yeah, go for something M.2. That'd be cool.
So we probably should wrap it up after this one.
Oh, we should. It's after 4. Well, we started a little late, but that's cool.
Yeah, we did. What computer component products later this year are you excited to get? Or what are you anticipating?
I'm looking forward to new GPUs, whenever those might actually come out. I have no idea, and I can't tell you even if I do know, but I can safely say that at some point in the future, both AMD and NVIDIA will release new GPUs. NVIDIA, we already know, is working on Maxwell, and AMD is working on something based on an island somewhere, and I don't know their code name. But yeah, I'm looking forward to those new GPUs, because that's going to be the next step, and it's probably going to make 4K a lot more reasonable to work with. You're not going to have to spend $800 or $1,000 on graphics cards just to run 4K at reasonable settings. Power consumption is probably going to come down. So yeah, I think there's a lot of exciting stuff for that coming out. And then I guess on the CPU side, definitely looking forward to Haswell E.
Yes. Yes.
That'll be huge.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
And hopefully AMD is going to have something on the CPU side too. I really have no idea if they do. D-Man Duck asks, if I gave you bacon, would you build me a purple computer shaped like a potato with Kyle's face carved in it? I don't know about purple, but
maybe another color.
But I do work for bacon, so that is good. Always be wallet biased. Good advice from Teromi. I don't know what that's in reference to, but we just answered that question about the Plex Store PCIe. Yeah, we already mentioned that. I had an OCZ Agility 3 that broke 3 times. Well, that makes sense because it's a 3.
Yeah, it should break 3 times. I think it is actually the Agility series I have, but they're known for not being that good. But the prices were low.
Derek Tang asks, why does no one talk about RAM write cycles problem? It's only different between RAM and NAND flash volatility. RAM write cycles. Isn't the only difference between RAM and NAND flash. RAM write cycles. I'm not 100% getting you here, Derek, but if I understand what you mean, is why are people don't know, why is no one talking about NAND write cycles? That's what I've heard more about, like how many program erase cycles are available in NAND for an SSD or something like that. The reason is because there's so much NAND in consumer SSDs, and consumer SSDs are used with such little read and write compared to professional ones or enterprise ones, that really, even though the program erase cycles have been dropping down, you would need to write like 20 gigs a day still to wear it out.
Make a dent. So they're still
yeah,
most of the time you're never going to push it to the limits.
I've never had a SSD get to steady state, which is where you can't write. And even if you do run out of program erase cycles, you can still read the data off of there. So it's not like your data's gone. You're gone. Yeah. I'm much more worried about the controller dying, which is the issue they had with like the Vertex 2s and everything. Back to full screen and that's probably all the time we have for today.
The only thing I'm looking forward to this year is 4K monitors dropping in price, because after using this one here on the streaming computer we have, I can load so many charts on it.
Oh yeah.
Just so many charts. I could have like 12 charts on there.
You'd make so much more money.
I'd just make 12 times as much money.
You would.
Guaranteed. 100%.
It's totally worth the investment.
Yeah. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you had fun. Sorry about starting a little bit late, but we ran a little bit over for you guys. I hope you have a good weekend.
I hope you guys have a great weekend too. I'm not going to be around much next week because it's a shorter week because we have a holiday on Friday. Actually, the Alt+Tab show will not be happening next Friday because it is the 4th of July here in the United States. It's where we celebrate lighting things on fire. I think something to that effect.
With the drought we're having, things will be set on fire.
That is true.
Things will burn.
All right.
For America.
I hope not, but
I hope not.
But anyway, yeah, we'll be off for 4th of July, so in 2 weeks we'll have another Alt+Tab show. But I believe we'll be bringing you Yoked regularly on Tuesday and Thursday next week, so stay tuned for that. I'm not going to be there involved because I'm going to be in Korea, but I'm sure the folks here will do a great job for everyone.
They always take care of you guys. You know that.
Don't forget to send in questions to qandegg@gmail.com if you want us to answer those on our Q&A segment on Wednesday. And we love you all so much, and thank you for watching this show. And that is...
we will see you back here on our Twitch channel in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. But you guys take care, and we'll see you then.